So this is wild. ADL, not a fan of Zohran Mamdani. Apparently the feeling is quite mutual. And they have announced in the wake of his election, this is honestly insane and frankly racist. They've announced an initiative to track and monitor all Mamdani administration policies and appointments to quote unquote protect Jewish New Yorkers. So Greenblatt has gotten so far out over his skis on his anti-Mamdani meltdown freakout that even the Morning Joe crew, Joe Scarborough specifically, are like, dude, you can't be serious about this stuff. Let's go ahead and take a listen to that.
Look, it's not about politics. This morning we launched a tip line at adl.org NYC. So if you are Jewish and you experience anti-Semitism where you work or where you worship or where you live, we want to know so we can track it.
Well, and
look, I tell you,
there has been anti-Semitism in New York that we've talked about time and time again. Yeah. This isn't something new because he got elected last night. Will you work with him? Will you sit and talk to him? Will you have him be a part of this process?
He has said publicly that he will not work with the ADL and Jonathan Greenblatt, or when an elderly person is firebombed in Boulder, Colorado. Right. Like an 80-year-old woman, like someone angry about Gaza.
We're all shocked, and we all find this abhorrent, and I'm sure that the next mayor would say the same thing, wouldn't he?
You have to ask him.
Well, I think he has said the same thing. I don't know. I think you have to. I think you look at the fact that he has gone to one high holiday service after another. He has talked to the Jewish community.
That's not exactly right. He went to an anti-Zionist synagogue, which is like going to the black breakout at CPAC and saying you understand African Americans. I mean, come on.
You're saying he hasn't talked to the Jewish community?
I don't know of a mainstream. Now, look, he has been to synagogues. He has Jewish people working for him for sure.
Right.
But if you look at the biggest institutions that represent Jewish New Yorkers, I have yet to see him engage with any of those. Now, my hope is the mayor-elect will do so in the days and weeks to come. But in the meantime,
but you're not suggesting that he supports the firebombing in Colorado.
Never said that.
You're not suggesting that he supports the firebombing.
I never said that.
There is a lot.
Let me be clear.
There's a lot of blurring and blending here, Jonathan. And you know I love you, and you're on all the time, and I'm always a fierce defender of yours. But you seem to be like blurring a lot of things together, and then looking into that camera and say, call us. We're going to make sure that he doesn't support the.
I say to Jewish New Yorkers, call us if you feel unsafe. Okay. I say to Jewish New Yorkers, call us if you are harassed. And so let me clarify.
How about you calling his team, Mamdani's team? Or how about talking to people who may know him and you?
Let's see if that happens.
Like Reverend Al. Talk to Reverend Al. Maybe you guys can get together and have lunch and talk. Isn't that a more constructive thing to do?
Incredible clip there. I mean, he tries to pull the whole, oh my God, this person was firebombed, and Joe does not accept the emotional blackmail. He's like, yes, that's terrible. I'm sure the mayor would say that's terrible too. Are you insinuating that he wouldn't? And well, you'll have to ask him. Which is him insinuating that he wouldn't be horrified by, some Jewish person getting murdered or firebombed or whatever. I mean, it is deeply disgusting. And especially at a time, I mean, look, like there's a whole thing happening on the right about whether Nick Fuentes should be part of the coalition, et cetera. An overt neo-Nazi, genuine anti-Semite. These freaking people don't have anything to say about that. But God forbid you have someone who is anti-Zionist and outspoken about it, and also, by the way, a Muslim. Total meltdown, massive project to track everything, blah, blah, blah. By the way, I don't know if you saw, there were just some new stats that came out where they did a deep dive into the alleged anti-Semitism incidents at one particular university, and there was one that didn't have to do with Israel. One. Yeah. And so that's the game with this dude, and it's become
even
transparent.
On that one? Let me look at the details.
We got to right.
Let me see the details.
Look, with this dude, it's become transparent even to someone like Joe Scarborough, who is there saying, listen, I've been your defender. And even I'm like, come on, this is getting ridiculous. You are trying to insinuate things that are wildly unfair against this guy who, the only thing they can ever point to with him is he refused to condemn globalize the Intifada. Not that he says it Not that he, any of that, just that he refused to condemn it. That's the closest that they can come. And the freak out has been completely deranged.
Yes, it's so silly. I mean, look, I will say the ADL spends plenty of time on Nick Fuentes and on all the right wing as well. It's just that they also have the Trump administration, I wouldn't say in their pocket per se, but they're definitely in a convenient alliance, I think, right
There are
now.
a lot of these types, including Netanyahu, who don't really care about actual anti-Semitism. So long, in fact, in some ways, genuine anti-Semitism makes their case for Israel stronger of like, we have to have this state to protect the Jews. So they've been happy to make alliances with, far right, like flirting with genuine anti-Semitic types, so long as they are allowed to have their apartheid, genocidal ethno-state. That is the one line you can't cross.
Well, I've said, John Podhoretz, who's Mr. Commentary, Nepo baby, literally said, Trump can say Shylock because he bombed Iran. I was like, okay, so, all right. I mean, well, don't really want to hear about anti-Semitism from you ever again. So, Mr. Human Egg, but that's part of, that is kind of giving away the game. Greenblatt already gave the game away. This is all just about Israel. These people are the wokest people on the planet. Every word he just said reminds me of the same type of like BLM bullshit rhetoric. By the way, including pointing to incidents of like, oh, there's this one incident over there. And that is what you have, that is exactly what you say when you don't condemn it. And people are like, yeah, I obviously condemn that, but that doesn't mean that I should have to like put on a dashiki and kneel in the middle of a square. And they're like, whoa, but. And then now in this exact same thing, put the next one up on the screen. The ADL has announced a new initiative to, quote, track, monitor policies and personnel appointments of the incoming Mamdani administration to protect Jewish residents across the 5 boroughs. So the anti-Semites are now making lists of people. Are we tracking this? We are now going to make lists about the people who do not align with our politics, and then we'll publicize that. I mean, again, this is the same woke tactics that all of these people did. Like, all of the lists of the people who don't sign our pledges, they must be fired. They must put their names publicized. It's like, it's just sickening to watch, honestly. It really is. Especially because nobody in the right spectrum is condemning any of this stuff out of an alliance of convenience because ADL, Miriam Adelson, and others are just chucking money into the Republican Party. How do you not look at the current election results and say, yeah, we need to get rid of this shit? People are done with it. The guy who took the podium and said, I'm not going to visit and I won't, cave to your tactics, just won the election. Learn from it. Everybody just move on.
Yeah. The level of just overt, like, Islamophobic bigotry, it honestly is higher than even what I saw after 9/11 because it's out in the open and it was both Democrats and Republicans. I mean, Cuomo from the beginning, he was, saying, laughing along as someone said that Zohran would be cheering on 9/11 on a radio show. Disgusting. He was darkening his skin tone and lengthening his beard in mailers. You had Kirsten Gillibrand calling him a jihadist. I mean, the number of people who called him a jihadist.
I didn't know she said that.
You did? Yeah.
No, I didn't realize.
Yes. I mean, it's just absolutely insane. And, this is from the right, it's just uniform across the board, acting like he's going to implement some kind of like Sharia law. Total insanity. And I think, part of his victory was voters just being like, this is absolute nonsense. And it cut against their argument that he's he's like a lefty radical communist. But then at the same time, he's like Islamist Sharia law jihadist. Two things didn't really work together. And then people see the guy and are like, you guys are out of your minds. Like, this is not credible whatsoever what you're trying to insinuate about this man.
The low IQ Islamophobia is an Israel tactic. It's actually one that they've explicitly said out in the open.
That's exactly right.
What we want to do is to maintain support for Israel, to make it so that it's like an Abrahamic, we all band together against the Muslims.
The West.
About the West. But then you're like, wait, do Western countries usually have right to rape protests? Is that the same barbaric behavior that you condemn in Islamic country? Because, maybe you're actually kind of the same, and that's actually really not good for you. And so like that's what they really run into. A lot of it is being pushed by the Randy Fines of the world. It's fascinating. It actually is that much of the anti-Israel right, which is probably more predisposed to being explicitly anti-Muslim is not the one who is pushing this. It is actually the capital L, like liberal right, the people who are pro-Israel, who are the ones who are most embracing this like Sharia law coming to New York City stuff. And it's literally just to protect pro-Israel politics.
Yeah.
It's totally crazy. It's like Randy Fine and all these other people who are the ones who are pushing it the most. So yeah, I mean, don't fall for it. And also, like, I really just believe in like looking at stuff on their face, and it's like, oh, so is Zohran Mamdani is Sharia law? The guy whose wife wears like a bra singlet under a see-through shirt? It's like, yeah, I just don't really think that's accurate.
I don't think people were really buying that.
Zohran is from a shitlib family. Like, amongst
he's from a legit leftist family.
Well, I would say there's not too much of a distinction on culture, and that's kind of what I'm getting at, is if you look at the like milieu of which Zohran and the people come from, amongst Indians, they are one of the most hated subgroups of like the high elite. I think this is very in the weeds, but the Indians will know what I'm talking about. I think Zohran quoted Nehru in his speech. Yeah, so Nehru is probably like the biggest villain in India right now under the nationalist government, because he's the one who kind of pushed this so-called like heterogeneous society, which was explicitly pro-Muslim, whatever. We can get into the debates later. But the point is just that by doing that, he's not a Sharia law person.
Right.
It's just he's a capital L liberal, like quite literally, in a lot of his positions. And looking at him explicitly, it's just so insane, to say that is what's coming. It's like he probably is much more socially liberal than 99% of the US population. So just call it by what it is. I don't understand why they can't do it.
Well, and here's the thing too, is they've, so Bannon and Andy Ogles and Randy Fine are all threatening to denaturalize him. They're trying to introduce bills in Congress also to keep him from being sworn in using the 14th Amendment somehow. I mean, I'm not going to say these things are going to work out, but I mean, the attack on him personally, and just, again, in the most flagrantly racist ways you can imagine. Just because he's Muslim, he must be into Sharia law and jihad is literally the argument that's being made here, is so repellent and repulsive. And then there's a level of genuine hysteria that I think some of these people genuinely believe that he's going to like authorize pogroms against Jews in New York City. I think they believe that.
I think they believe it because of the ADLs of the world.
Totally, who are
for real.
Exactly.
They're the people who are the ones who are pushing this.
Put D3 up on the screen. This is just one sign of the insanity here. So NYC's fire commissioner is resigning from the administration over disagreements with Zohran on Israel. Let me read you that sentence again and tell me if this makes any sense. New York City's fire commissioner is resigning over Mamdani's positions on Israel. Person familiar with Tucker's decision said it was influenced by Zohran's his own Zionist views, and believed that he could not continue to serve under Mamdani. Now, I don't think this individual will be a particularly large loss. Apparently, he had no background in firefighting whatsoever. He was some sort of an Eric Adams donor, effectively, and that's how he ends up in the position. But that is so deranged and insane that is like a sentence and a sentiment that exists. And then the last one, let me just put this up on the screen. This is kind of funny. Everybody was sharing this New York Post headline, which I don't find this poll particularly credible, but whatever. They say there were nearly 1 million New Yorkers ready to flee New York City if Mamdani becomes mayor, possibly igniting largest exodus in history. Ryan pointed out, if these 1 million people who are supposedly going to pack up and move had just showed up to the polls, they could have voted for someone else and he never would have won, which is why it's not very credible.
It's also definitely not.
But I will tell you that, all the New Yorkers that I've talked to have been like, please go. Like, if you said you're going to leave, please do, because that will actually
that'll drive down.
That will actually drive down costs and make life easier for us. And we just don't particularly want you here. So
look,
goodbye.
We'll see. I mean, you guys can watch our segment. I've talked about it. I don't think I'm making a bet, and if I could make a Polymarket bet, I would. Aggregate rent will be higher 4 years from today, outpacing inflation than it will be on the day that Zohran is elected. I will put a marker down. I don't think it's going to work. But we'll see. In terms of the people who are leaving, if it's about the right type of people. If if the millionaire millennials and Napo babies leave, yeah, it's great, right? But if you have younger families and other people who are
Those are the people
middle
who are
class,
already leaving.
and I was going to say, those are the people who are leaving who shouldn't be leaving if you allegedly are a great place to raise a family. Now, if you have net migration of those types, then yeah, I would say it's a failure. So look, people should be judged on outcomes, and we'll see how it works out. Like I said, I don't think much of it is going to work. I think a lot of it's going to be virtue signaling, and most of his speech was about Trump and all that, which is smart politically. I would do the same thing, because then it's about a boogeyman who's attacking us and not about whether I'm going to lower the rent or any of that stuff. Fine, if that's what you guys want for your mayor, be cool.
I don't think that's fair to say that most of his speech was about Trump.
on.
Did you watch it all?
Yes, I watched the entire thing. The most high-profile
first of all, I
sections
would say
were specifically about.
Trump is directly threatening the city with stripping their funding and sending an ICE on all of that. But number two, I mean, he definitely centered his campaign promises and the.
I'm not saying he didn't do that, but there were significant portions which were dedicated to national issues. But I mean, that's my point. I think you'll be absolutely saved by it. By the fact is like, I think that's what a lot of those voters want. I'm not so sure many of them even particularly care whether he can even deliver on his promises. Most of politics is about whether somebody appears to be fighting for you, but we'll see. I mean, I put my marker down. If the rent goes down, I'll be happy for you. I really will be, but I don't think it's going to work. Okay, we've got, Summer Lee standing by, so why don't we get to it? Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below. It really helps get the show to more people.
And if you'd like to get the full show ad-free and in your inbox every morning, you can sign up at breakingpoints.com.
That's right. Get the full show, help support the future of independent media at breakingpoints.com.